What's up, y'all? It's Chris here to do some predictions for UFC 130. Gotta say, not so looking forward to this card anymore. Unfortunately, the main event fell off. Frankie Edgar, Gray Maynard 3, which was for the title. Although, in all honesty, I wasn't really looking forward to Gray Maynard, Frankie Edgar 2, which was like on January 1st. And it turned out to be one of the best fights thus far this year. So I was actually looking forward to the trilogy, but unfortunately, both guys pulled out of the fight not too long ago. Now we got a main event between Quentin Rampage Jackson and Matt Hamill, which I'll talk about in a second. Real quick on the undercard, great thing is the undercard, the entire undercard will be streamed on Facebook, as well as I think there's going to be 2 fights on Spike TV. So much like UFC 129, you have an opportunity to see all the fights if you have, internet access and, order the pay-per-view. At least it's being allowed. You have the option to be able to watch all the fights, which is great in my opinion. Not looking at the undercard, not too interested in too many of the bouts. I guess Stephon Struve, Travis Brown looks good. Good heavyweight bout. I'd favor Stephon Struve there. Gleason Tafau, Bart Palashevsky, go with Tafau. His wrestling's going to give Palashevsky all kinds of trouble. Chris Carriazo against Michael McDonald. Don't know much about Carriazo. Goes Michael McDonald there. Renan Barraro against Cole Escobedo. I hope Escobedo can win this one, man. He's been through a lot. I've had the chance to interview him on the Science of Violence. Great dude. I really hope he can win this one, but I favor Renan, they're both making their UFC debuts, actually. Miguel Torres Kendall Grove taking on Tim Boetsch. Man, I think this is Boetsch's fight, first fight down 185. He's got the style to give Kendall all kind of problems. He's got some pretty good power in his hands, got the wrestling. But I'm going to favor Kendall. Kendall's always up and down in his career. I think that he is a level of fighter where he should be able to beat the Tim Boetsch's. If he loses, will I be surprised? Not at all. But I go with Kendall to win this fight by decision. Miguel Torres, Demetrius Johnson. I believe this was initially supposed to be Miguel Torres against Brad Pickett, which would have been an awesome fight. That would have been an absolute war, but unfortunately Pickett got hurt. Bad break for Torres. Johnson is a style that's really bad for him. Johnson, somewhat similar to Joseph Benavidez, who had his way with Miguel Torres in their fight. I don't think Demetrius Johnson is going to win or beat Miguel Torres in the, fashion that Joseph Benavidez is, but I think his wrestling will give Torres problems. I'm a big fan of Miguel Torres, even though I didn't like his last fight where he just jabbed away all day at Charlie Valencia. But I think stylistically, styles make fights, and I think Demetrius Johnson's got the style to beat Miguel Torres by decision. Brian Stann taking on Jorge Santiago. Stann coming off probably the biggest win of his career over Chris Leben, stoppage. Jorge Santiago coming over from Japan, from Dream, long run over there. Santiago is a better fighter, better overall fighter, been fighting a lot longer, got a lot more experience, got a lot of memorable fights. However, his biggest downfall is his chin. And unfortunately, he's going up against a guy with a lot of firepower in his hands. If Santiago can get this fight to the ground, I think he should be able to submit Stann. Although Stann's working with Greg Jackson's camp now, I don't know how much he's been able to work on or tighten up his wrestling and takedown defense and his submission game. But, I think Jorge Santiago should win this fight, but I think Brian Stann might win it just because of the power in his hands. And Santiago's not like some powerhouse wrestler that's going to be able to take Stann down and will. If he gets him on the ground, he should be able to submit him, but if he can't, I think Stann stops Santiago somewhere in the first couple of rounds. Rick Story taking on Thiago Alves. Good fight, man. This should be a good scrap. A couple of violent guys in the ring. Story definitely brings it. He's got the wrestling pedigree, but he's also got some pretty solid hands. Very aggressive fighter. Thiago Alves, we all know his story. Good Muay Thai. I don't know, man. If Rick Story, not saying it's easy to replicate, but if he can somewhat replicate how George St. Pierre has easily dispatched the Thiago Alves, as has John Fitch, by getting takedowns and just stifling him on the ground, Story should win this fight. However, if he gets too brave for his own good, tries to stand and trade, that might be to his detriment, because Thiago Alves, Story's got good hands, but Alves got good hands, elbows, knees, and kicks. So if it stays on the feet, and I don't know how much bigger Alves is going to be. He's always bigger than his opposition. I don't know how much of a size advantage he'll have on Story if it's significant. Rick may have trouble getting him to the ground. I want Rick Story to win this fight because I want to see some new blood challenging for the title. I think if Thiago Alves gets another title shot against GSP, I just want to see it go any different. Not to say Rick Story I think could be GSP, but I just want to see new challengers for George St. Pierre moving forward. So I'd like to see Rick Story win this fight, but I'm going to favor Thiago Alves by decision. Co-main event of the night, Frank Mir taking on Roy Nelson. Fight people have been mentioning wanting to see for about a year or so. They have grappled in the past, grappling competition. I believe that Roy Nelson got the better of that. Both guys are pretty solid on the feet. Frank Mir definitely got a lot better in the stand-up game the last couple of years. Both are good on the ground, obviously. The funny thing is, you look at him, you would think Roy Nelson has much worse cardio than Frank Mir, but au contraire, mon frere, Roy Nelson definitely, I think, has better cardio and conditioning than Frank Mir, and I think it might come in handy here. Standing, I see it as a wash. I don't see a guy getting either of a significant advantage. Sure, Nelson got beat up on the feet by Dos Santos, but Dos Santos is a much better boxer and bigger hitter than Frank Mir. On the ground, I could see it being a stalemate. I don't see the guy having a significant advantage. Overall, I think it's going to be a close fight. I think it's going to be a decision, but I think Roy Nelson's going to have more late and be able to pull out a decision and win. So I'll go with Roy Nelson by unanimous, or maybe even split decision. I don't know. Roy Nelson to win this fight by some form of decision. Main event of the night, Quinn Rampage Jackson taking on Matt Hamill. When this fight was announced, I was surprised. Wasn't enthusiastic about it too much, and still am not, even if it's the main event. Even Quentin Rampage Jackson has said up until the last couple of days that he's not excited for this fight. He's not up for the challenge, which could be bad. When Quentin's not motivated, you don't get the best out of him. And even when he is, you don't get the best. Look at his performances against Rashad Evans and Lyoto Machida last time, a couple times out. Quentin has looked more like Quentin Jackson than Rampage Jackson. Matt Hamill, he makes the most of his ability. Not the most talented fighter, not the best wrestler, definitely not the best striker, stand-up fighter. But he gets the most out of what he has to work with. Granted, I think if he trained with a better team, he could be even better. But, he's loyal to where the guys he trains with. And I think, with the limited skills, no disrespect, that he has, I think he's done pretty good in his career thus far. However, even if Rampage isn't at 100% for this fight, motivated, I think he wins. Hamill's probably only got the edge in the wrestling, but Rampage, as we've seen time and time again, is no easy opponent to get down. And if it stays on the feet, I can see Rampage putting serious hurting on Matt Hamill. Matt Hamill, not only is his striking not that good, but his head movement is pretty much non-existent, and he has his chin up. Perfect target for Rampage. I see Rampage swinging for the fences. Rampage ain't going to go for no kicks. It'd be interesting to see if Matt Hamill decides to mix in some kicks, though, because Rampage has shown susceptibility to them in the past. Maybe Hamill will try to wrestle him to the ground and just hold him up against the cage like Rashad Evans did, but I don't think Hamill's got the game plan. I guess he could have the game plan, but I don't think he'll be able to stick to a game plan, or be able to implement the game plan, I should say, to stifle Rampage's offense the way that Rashad Evans was. So I definitely see Rampage winning this fight, most likely by knockout. Hopefully Rampage will bring out the old Rampage and just be aggressive and really go for the kill here and look to make a statement and show that he should be the next challenger for the light heavyweight title whenever that whole picture shakes out. So I'll go with Rampage win this fight by stoppage. This may be one of the first UFC fights, along with Penn Fish, that I haven't ordered in a long time. I might have to go watch it somewhere. Because, like I said, I'm not that interested in it. But anyways, we'll be breaking it down on this on Science Minds Radio Show as usual. Want to hear your guys' thoughts on the event? Are you not looking forward to it? Disappointed that Edgar Maynard 3 is off the card? And yeah, if there are any fights you really look forward to, let me know which ones and why, and who you favor in the main event. And if you favor Matt Hamill, talk me into why he can win this fight or how. That's it for now, guys. Link to Science Minds Radio Show in the information about the video, as well as a link to ScienceMinds.com and link to my Twitter. And until next time, I'm out.